I'm a spirit channeler and oracle card reader who channels both light and shadow energies in my readings, which means if you're easily triggered, please find yourself another reader. Do you have karmic debt? You have 3 piles to choose from left to right: pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. Pause the video if you need some more time to choose, and I'll see you in your reading. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your reading. So, do you have karmic debt? Yes, you do. Your debt has more to do with you being mistreated in a past life, and you working in this life to not repeat the same mistakes and to get your power back. So, in a past life, you were definitely a female, and you were born in the time period where women were oppressed in general. However, to top it off, I do see that in your marriage you were further oppressed, like you had an even more oppressive husband who was extra oppressive even for the time. So as a result, I'm seeing there was financial abuse because you didn't have a job, and this was during a period where women either didn't work outside the home at all, or they rarely worked outside the home. And like it was just like the lower classes who did, and then they were probably paid half wage or some nonsense. So, but you basically relied on your husband for your finances, and you also had to cater to his all his needs and his emotional needs as well. So like if things didn't make him happy, you were the one who had to adjust to make sure that he was happy. It wasn't him ever really adjusting to please his wife. It was always the wife, i.e. you, adjusting to please him. And you also grew up this way as well. Like you watched your mother do the same thing with your father, and it was kind of like expected that you would grow up to serve your husband. And yeah, I'm seeing that either he was even more oppressive than the times called for, or he was just on par with the times, which was oppressive already in general. So your karmic debt is to regain your power. So in this lifetime, you may find that you're having issues with romantic partners because you're not really like supposed to be in a romantic relationship. That doesn't mean that you'll never get into one or that you'll never get married, but it's not supposed to be the forefront of your purpose in this lifetime. Like in your past life, that was the forefront of your purpose. Your purpose was to be a wife and a mother, and in this lifetime, your purpose, that is not your purpose. So in this group, of course, I'm seeing mainly females. If you're a male in this group, definitely you were a female in your past life, and I guess you decided to be a male in this incarnation to make it easier for you to have power and authority, and to have the life that you weren't able to have in your past life. But I really feel for the majority of you guys are all females, because this is a do-over type of life. It's like you're being born in the same gender to be able to break out of the oppressions that were plaguing you in the past, and to be able to do better for yourself and be more powerful, given the same physical limitations, even though it's not the same social limitations. I mean, granted, I guess it depends on where you live in the world, but generally speaking, in this day and age, is not the same amount of social limitations. But I'm seeing that most of you guys are females. You're born into the same physical limitations. So your karmic debt is not really you doing things to other people and you having to pay negatively for it, but it may come off a little bit negative because, like I said, you're going to have problems with romantic partnerships. So you may find that you're attracting narcissists and or you're not attracting people at all, like who want to be in a serious relationship. You're just attracting like fuckboys. So that is going to come off negative. So it might seem like you have some sort of like curse when it comes to romantic partnerships. It may seem like romantic partnerships tend to break down with you, and they don't go anywhere long term. Or maybe you felt like that in the past, because everyone's at different stages in their life. You could be watching this and you could be like 55, and you could already have be married, but you would resonate with in the past having issues in romantic relationships, and you already at this point in your life got over this hurdle, and you were able to take your power back. And once you're able to take your power back, you were able to get into stable romantic relationships. And for those of you who are younger, then that just means that once you do take your power back and or learn to fend for yourself and learn to be yourself and to speak up for yourself, only then will you have more stable and long-term committed and serious romantic relationships. So that is what I'm seeing for you for your karmic debt. I hope that helped you and resonated. Let me know if it did, and I'll see you in my next reading. Hello, pile number 2. Welcome to your reading. So do you have karmic debt? Yes, you do. And what it is that in a past life, you guys were some sort of high-ranking government official, or just like a law or legal official of some manner, or it could have been a royal government governing body official. So you could have been, say, an advisor to the pharaoh, advisor to the king, depending on what era and region you were born in, or you could have been in an elected government as an elected official. In this lifetime, I'm seeing that you guys are drawn to positions of power, like being managers, CEOs, people who call the shots and make big decisions that affect lots of people below them and that affect the company. You may also be in law enforcement or in the government as well. Or you may be drawn to those careers depending on your age. If you haven't reached there yet, you may be drawn to those careers. So in the past life, you didn't really listen to your intuition and your emotions when it came to giving the advice that you were given if you were an advisor, or making the decisions if you were a decision maker. And you were kind of corrupted. I mean, I did mention that. So you made some decisions that didn't go over well with, I'm seeing, the lower classes. So, or the mass collective of people, like the regular citizens, people who weren't in power. So in this lifetime, if you are in positions of power and you try to make decisions that are going to negatively affect the mass collective of your company, or the people who are in positions below you or something like that, there's going to be some sort of issue. I do see for most of you guys, like, something is going to happen where, like, you can't follow through on it, or there's going to be some sort of backfiring of you making this decision. For a small percentage of you guys, there may be no backfiring, and you may just be left to your own devices in this lifetime to make your own decisions and see where you end up on your own. But then I see that you're most likely, if you make poor decisions, since the backfiring is not happening immediately, it's going to happen in your next reincarnation. So you better hope that you're of the group that gets the backfiring almost immediately after you make these poor decisions, these decisions that are against the masses, and that the masses as in, like, the collective, like other people basically below you, and that are in your favor, or that are for your benefit, or for the benefit of people like you and at your position. I'm just going to cast some cards to see if I'm seeing anything else. You guys have to deal with your shadow in this incarnation. Like you have a very authoritative shadow. Well, it's not so much shadow, it's pretty much in the light. But it's how do I explain it? Sorry, my camera cut off. I was saying that you guys are coming off very heavy fire sign, Aries particularly. I did pull the wand card, and that's just the energy that you guys are giving off. So basically in this lifetime, you can't Look, and I split the deck and I got the King of Wands here. So basically, you guys can't in this lifetime forego your intuition for the sake of making diabolical like decisions that are going to negatively affect people. When it can be avoided, you got to do your best to avoid them when possible. I get it, sometimes you're truly backed into a corner and your hands are tied, but you have to differentiate between the times when you are truly indeed backed into a corner and your hands are truly indeed tied, or if you're just a little bit too lazy and to push back and you don't want to put in the effort to push back. So you guys need to push back against like policies and that sort of stuff that are going to, again, negatively affect people below you. Some of you guys, a small group of you guys, may find that you have a difficult time even getting into positions of power. So, you know, the way this karmic debt's being paid off is going to vary for all of you guys. Some of you guys it may be a complete block where you have a desire to be in these types of positions, but you're not able to get into these types of positions. So you can be in the subgroup where you have the complete block where you can't even get into these positions. You could be in the subgroup where you get into these positions and you have the immediate repercussions of making poor decisions, or you can be in the subgroup where you get into these positions and you do not have any repercussions about making poor decisions, but those repercussions are going to come in the next lifetime. So I hope that helped you. Let me know if it resonated, and I will see you in my next reading. Hello, group 3. So welcome to your reading. So what do you have karmic debt? Yes, you do. This debt has to do with atrocities that were committed against you in your past life. So in your past life, you guys were either a part of a war or in a war zone, or had a lot of like racism or slavery thrown at you in this past life. So that was like in its way, some sort of like a kind of personal war where you were being discriminated against and actively enslaved, perhaps. So as a result, you didn't have much freedoms, especially when it came to, religion. I picked that up. It could have been against your race or the discrimination, or it could have also been against your religion. It could have been like a war where an invading religious institution came in, or religious power came in and overtook or colonized your area, and you had to convert and that sort of stuff. So I'm seeing a few different things, but it's either like a real traditional war, or either you were part of it actively fighting, or you were just in a war zone, or it was a war against your race or a war against your religion type of thing. So or a war against your freedom if you were a slave. So basically in that past lifetime, you didn't really have much freedoms when it came to freedom of movement and freedom to express your religious thoughts or your spiritual thoughts as well, because I tried to clarify and I pulled this card, which is nature worship. So a lot of you guys were pagans of some sort, or natives of some sort, or maybe druids or whatnot, mystics, and you practiced a type of religion or a spiritual practice that was stamped out by a stronger religious institution. So in that past life, you didn't have the freedom to practice that freely. And in this lifetime, you're supposed to practice your religion and your spiritual practices freely and openly. And you're also supposed to have more freedom of movement. So again, it depends on what subgroup you're in, what type of discrimination you experience or war you experienced in your past life. But if it was like war and you were stuck in a civil war, stuck in a world war, and you couldn't move, basically you guys are supposed to travel a lot during this lifetime. And if it was a war against your religion or your race, you guys are supposed to express yourselves culturally or express yourselves religiously or spiritually out in the open, so that you can again express yourself, and in a time period where you're going to have less discrimination. Hopefully that's the case, because I don't know where you guys are located. Some of you guys might be located in a country where you're the minority, either racially or religiously, and maybe you'll still face some type of discrimination if you try to practice openly, but for the most part you guys are supposed to be able to practice openly. So let me cast some cards and see if I'm seeing anything else. I don't know what exactly maybe went on in your life. So some of you guys I am picking up were black in your past life, and you incarnated white. So if you ever feel kind of like you're internally mixed but you're not, then that's probably it. So yes, whatever was a weakness in your past life is going to be, you need to use as a strength in this lifetime. So if you try to stamp it down or like hide it, whatever this is, then you're going to fall into problems. So if you're having problems in your life, ask yourself, am I trying to hide a part of myself, an aspect of myself? Or am I trying to not travel and stay put in this small town where I was born and raised, or something like that? Am I trying to do something that's against what happened in my past life? And if the answer is yes, then it's because you're going against that you're having these problems. And this is a Chariot in reverse. So again, I'm seeing like a lack of movement for some of you guys, where you're supposed to have a job where it gives you more freedom to move about, or something like that. So you're not supposed to allow yourself to be trapped and tied down in one place. So there may be some sort of issue going on where you're trapped or tied down in some place. Some of you guys are not supposed to be working menial jobs where you are treated almost like a slave, because you were a slave in a past life. So you're not supposed to be in that position again. So, and then you'll find that you're having job problems at your job if that's the case, because you're not supposed to be in that position. So again, it depends on your subgroup, but you guys are supposed to freely express yourselves or move about in this lifetime. So that is your karmic debt. It's basically you just taking your power back, similar to pile 2, but in a completely, was it pile 2 or pile 1? I can't remember anymore. But in a completely different way. And you need to get past any kind of fears that you have about expressing yourself in this kind of way. And yeah, I pulled the 9 of Swords. So get over any kind of fears that you have about expressing yourselves in this way, in this lifetime, and make sure to express yourself, because if you try to restrict yourselves with regard to this thing, whatever this is for you, this whatever subgroup you're part of, I am seeing problems in your life. I'm seeing issues happening. Issues, it could be issues in your job, issues in your home, like you might have a problem where you're always having to move apartments or something like that, move homes, because you're not supposed to stay still in one place for as long as you're trying to stay still. You're supposed to move around. So if you don't move around on your own, you don't take the initiative, then the universe or this karmic debt is going to push you to have to move, and it's going to be in a negative manner, like you're going to get evicted, or the dwelling's going to get, what is it called, repossessed or something like that, or you're going to have to move or whatnot, again depending on your subgroup. You may have that issue with jobs where you're constantly having to change jobs. It may be a problem with your family as well. If you're trying to restrict or hide your spirituality from your family, you may be having problems in your family life. So just be mindful of that. Don't restrict yourself and don't hide this aspect of yourself. Some of you guys may be in interracial relationships and you're trying to hide your culture Don't do that, because you're going to have relationship problems. So yeah, I pulled the Queen of Swords. So you guys need to stand up for yourselves, be loud and proud. This could also be, since I just said that, this could be a gay thing, like homosexuality. So maybe in the past life, this war was against your sexuality. That's one thing I didn't pick up immediately, but that's another possibility. And in this lifetime, you're supposed to be loud and proud about it. So those are your messages. That's your karmic debt. I hope that helped you and resonated. Let me know if it did, and I'll see you in my next reading.